you very much, Jan, and thank you to all of you for hosting me here over a few days, short but sweet. I had a fantastic day yesterday with the PU staff in Siem Reap. We got a very good sense of programs relating to safe schools, to early childhood care, to child protection, skills training, vocational training for youngsters, and community empowerment and development in general. So it was a great day. Amazing how much you can do in 6-7 hours when everything is well prepared and well thought out. So very good day for me. 2 months into the job now, and of course I know everything. So I'll share with you everything that I know at this stage, which is not a lot, and that's why coming here is part of an important journey for me of getting to really understand plan. But what I do know is that it's an incredibly exciting time to be the 5th largest development INGO in the world. It's a very, very exciting time to be the 2nd or 3rd largest child's rights INGO in the world. It would be an even more exciting time if we knew what we wanted to be the largest in the world for. If I asked around this room and said, what is Plan International the largest and biggest and most important and impactful organization in the world for? I'm not sure we can answer that. But we will be able to answer it, you will be able to answer it, I'll be able to answer it in 8 months from now, when the International Board and the Members' Assembly come together and approve our new vision, mission, and strategic choices. They will also there raise the bar and say, this is where Plan International will be and will be positioned, and what we will strive for together over the next 5 years. The other thing I know is that everything that we do, and in those choices that we will make, we will need to take into account what's happening in the global development environment right now. A month ago in New York, of course, heads of state and government from the entire world got together around a very ambitious agenda for change, the Sustainable Development Goals and the declaration that goes with them. 2 minutes I want to spend on why are the Sustainable Development Goals so massively different from the MDGs. First of all, they've been co-created in a 2-year-long process between governments, NGOs, North and South alike, business, everything. The MDGs were literally written on the back of an envelope in a small room with 7-8 people present, and then they were announced to the world. That's why it took them 7 years to gain any traction and importance around in government. Right now you have governments that have all been part of this process, and within the next year or 2, we will see, maybe 3, we will see most governments in the world start adopting the SDGs as part of their development framework and planning process. That obviously means that we have to do the same. We have to be very clear and ready about what contribution we can make to help governments, societies, communities reach those goals. And the goals are immensely ambitious. I do recommend, if you haven't done it, just even within the last week, just go back and read the SDGs before you finish this workshop. And take a look what they are promising children, what they're promising young people, what they're promising women, girls. The promise that is being made by governments in areas of rights, ending abuse, governance, participation, infrastructure development that's sensitive to their needs, and of course the social side of health and education. the broad spectrum of promises that have been made for children and for girls is amazing. We have to make sure that those promises are kept. I see Plan International playing an enormously important role as an INGO in holding governments and ourselves and partners to account for the promises that they have made under the SDGs. We need to be ready for that. We need to be bolder, step up, have voice, know exactly what we stand for in terms of protecting or enforcing the promises that have been made and make them come alive. So as a $1 billion organization, is that doable? Who is it that we need to stand by and stand for and stand with in the process? Well, to answer that question, as part of this process that I mentioned before, we need to look at what is Plan best at today? And some things come to mind, and you can help me on this as well, to really sort of get a sense of what are we really best at? Because we don't really know. I wish we did. I wish we had, for each of our 7 areas of intervention, for each of our countries, in terms of that we really, really knew what are we best at and how do we compare that across. But let's make some assumptions. We know that we have an enormous asset in our deep field community presence. We also know that our business model is quite expensive. So how do we keep a deep field presence, community facilitators, engagement, knowledge, the world's largest database on the lived experience of children in communities, child data? Nobody else has it. How do we keep that asset? How do we use it? And how do we use it in a smart way to position the organization in the best possible way? So that's one. Our deep community presence needs to somehow come alive, but come alive in a way that we can sustain it and don't end up being not only the largest INGO for something, but the most expensive INGO for something. So we have to be cost conscious in the way that we move forward. What other pieces do we have? We have, over the last 3 years, led and driven a global movement for change for the girl child. We are seen, not only seen, but also seen with some jealousy and envy by some of our partners as emerging as a global leader in the area of girls' rights. I think that's an amazing asset for an organization to have. At a time where the SDGs places an emphasis on equality, on justice for the girl child in a way that the Global Development Agenda has never done before. So that's another area. So community, engagement, footprint, a real strong leadership in the world already around the girl child. We have other assets that are really quite interesting and powerful to somebody like me that comes into an organization from the outside. One of the things that we're best known for in the world is CRBS and digital birth registration. It's kind of strange. but if you ask around the development community, what is Plan known for, almost even more so than girls' rights and child's rights and community development, etc. It's CRBS. We are the go-to organization for even large organizations, the UN system, some private sectors, etc., on birth registration. Okay, let's hold on to that. And there are, I'm sure, a lot of other things. But my approach to this conversation that we are having now over the next 8 months is we have to build on our strength. It would be absolutely silly for us to define ourselves and define what we want to be over the next 5, 10, 15 years if we don't grow it from major differentiators in the development marketplace. So sustaining deep community presence, sustaining and reinforcing and growing our leadership role around the girl-child space and building on some of those very discrete niches of work that we've done that has set us apart in the eyes of both governments and institutional donors. So this is a conversation that I will help drive. When we have finalized that process of figuring out how we want to differentiate ourselves, we need to be looking at everything else we do. We need to be looking at our business model, our funding model, our partnership model, our membership model, our whatever model, because many of the ways that we do things today are based a little bit, not fully, some of them are really smart, but some of them are also quite 20th century in the way that we do things. We have exactly the same problem as every other organization that has been in existence for 76 years. Coming from the UN, I love telling my UN colleagues that Plan International is older than the UN. What I love telling my Plan International colleagues is that we're just as bureaucratic as the UN. We're just as complex as the UN. We're not necessarily as nimble and smart as we want to be. So we do need to be looking at how we do things as well as what we do. So this particular time in Plan International's history and the exciting opportunity that we have to be a leading INGO in making the SDGs come alive for children with a particular emphasis on the girl child is something that excites me every day, makes me get up in the morning and love to be part of shaping that path with you all, with our colleagues across all continents, in all types of offices, whether it's national offices, PUs, regional offices, country offices, or whatever. We do need to define the roles of each of those parts of our growing family. Let me end on the following. Because we have this opportunity, obviously, and you know that, you've spoken about that, I'm sure, many times, change is not an option, it's a reality, and it's a reality that we have to face on a daily basis. I know that you here in Cambodia have a particular, if not appetite for change, certainly a particular ability to change. Cambodia is a very innovative country. It's a very dynamic country. It's a very youthful country. And you can be part of a very exciting change journey by taking some of your best projects and your best approaches and making them available to the rest of us. So I really look forward to working with you and other offices, but maybe in particular you, because now I've been here, to see how you can help us make that change come alive. But we will have to overcome some strange internal barriers, and I'm not talking about Cambodia in particular. What I have found as an outside observer coming into Plan is that we're quite timid. We're not necessarily, I felt when I've met people that sometimes we don't really believe in ourselves enough. And I'm hoping that I can help when we know and when we can feel inside that we are the world's biggest and best INGO in a particular area, whether that area is girls' rights or whatever it is, we owning that and believing that and living that is what will make the change come alive. That pride of knowing that we have something to offer to our partners, which is unique and different. That'll help us maybe be a little bit more bold. Not arrogant, not silly, but a little bit more bold, putting ourselves out there.